Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're doing another What's It Worth regarding the Loomianity 2025 event. Now, obviously, as we know that one of the two major roamers were actually added into this event as a rainbow version. And, you know, obviously in our previous video, we did Glacidia. And none other than what's remaining left is going to be standing right behind me, which is, in fact, the Rainbow Arceros. Now, this bad boy is actually caught by none other than yours truly. And not only did I just find one, but, yeah, we kind of found two within 15 minutes. So, if you've seen my video on this already, you know, my reaction was a little caught off guard, you know. I was a little taken aback, but none other than that, major shout outs to yours truly. So make sure to like, subscribe while you're at it, please. It's not that hard, it's quick and easy, so go do that ASAP. But while we're here, let's actually talk about the odds and the actual value for this. Now, of course, the odds of this is going to be standing at the same, being 1 in 10,000 for those who are not using boost, but since it is a ×4 boost on this one, this is going to be a 1 in 2,500 with boost. While we're at it, as for the GR, it's going to be standing at roughly the same for the Glacidia, being around 0.8 to 1.2 GR. This is very subject to change, so just bear that in mind. Don't heavily rely on this video for your main source of information. Just keep in mind that these values can always change at any minute, so just please listen to that information. But with this being said, let's get straight into the trading process. All right, let's go in the chat and let's type in looking for offers on Rainbow Arceros, and boom. And now let's wait for offers. All right, and our first trade request is coming from Talhazland 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So let's see what Tal has to share with us today. So we start off with a Zulong, robust, smart, very foolish, an Infernix, hyper clumsy, a Kanebo, indifferent, and a Joltooth, frail, nimble. And it does seem like this may be Tal's final trade, but I'll quickly check in a second. All right, so I did just ask Tal whether or not this is their final offer or not, and they haven't responded to us, but we're gonna assume that this is their final trade. So with this being said, is this trade worth it? Unfortunately, I think we both know this trade is gonna have to be a major thumbs down. It's not even close to 1 GR, so I think I don't really need to explain too much on this one. So let's get into our next trade. All right, our next trade request is coming from Royal Nick _08. So let's see what Royal has to share with us today. So we sort of with a crazy overpay of a Gamma Christmas Nevermare Foolish Nimble, a GGSA Halloween Elephage Pure Nimble, and it does seem like this may be Royal's final offer, but I'll quickly check in a second. All right, and I did just ask Royal Nick as to whether or not this is their final offer, and they did just say one of these. So we actually do add in a GGSA Grimuline Pure Nimble. So let's just go through all of these. Are these trades worth it? I think you and I both know all three of these trades are major overpays. Looking at the Christmas Nevermare alone, this is already a major overpay. Then we have two exotics. I think it's pretty easy to say that these are major overpays, and it's an obvious flex offer, so just keep that in mind. So with this being said, let's get into our next trade. All right, and the next trade request is coming from Cherry Lawman. So let's see what Cherry has to share with us today. All right, do we get offered an adopted Rainbow Obsidian Pure Brawny, a purple Cinnamoth Pure Nimble, a red Wisp Cinnamoth Pure Hyper, and it does seem like this may be Cherry's final offer, but I'll quickly check in a second. All right, I did just ask Cherry whether or not this is the final offer or not, and it did take a little bit of a while, but we finally got up to it, and now this is gonna be our final offer here. So we're offering Rainbow Cinnamoth Pure Smart, green Cinnamoth Pure Smart with the add-on on the side being a yellow Cinnamoth Pure Brawny. So with this being said, is this trade worth it? Unfortunately, this trade is going to have to be a thumbs down, as do keep in mind that the Rainbow Obsidian is not going to really have a lot of value since anyone can get this pretty much for free. So it's pretty easy to get, and for the Cinnamoth alone, it's going to be slightly less than the actual current lowest value of this Rainbow Arceros. So with this being said, is this trade worth it? Unfortunately, this trade is going to have to be a major thumbs down. Do keep in mind that the adopted Obsidian is going to have to be around 0 GR max, if not a few alphas or gammas, just because of the fact that you can get this pretty much for free. It is very easy to get. It's like 100 tickets, so you can pretty much get that almost whenever. With that being said, it's not really going to have a lot of value. However, for the Rainbow Cinnamoth, that's going to be around half of the current GR for this Arceros, if not slightly less, so just bear that in mind. But with all this being said, we're going to have to give this one, once again, like I said, a thumbs down, and we're going to have to get into our next trade. All right, the next trade request is coming from Javier 23. So let's see what Javier has to share with us today. So we start off with a Grief Zone Brawny Tender, and it does seem like this may be Javier's final offer, but I'll quickly check in a second. All right, I did just ask Javier as to whether or not this is their final offer or not, and they didn't really reply back to us, so we're just going to assume that this is Javier's final trade right here. So is this worth it? I think we pretty much know the answer to that. Major thumbs down. So with this being said, let's get into our next and final trade. All right, and our next and final trade request is coming from Zach987098. So let's see what Zach has to share with us today. All right, so we start off with a purple Wisp Cinnamoth Pure Nimble, a Rainbow Iguana Pure Nimble, a green Cinnamoth Pure Hyper, and it does seem like this may be Zach's final offer, but I'll quickly check in a second. All right, so I did just ask Zach as to whether or not this is their final offer or not, and they did just say one is Wisp, so I'm assuming this is going to be their final offer. So with this being said, is this trade worth it? Unfortunately, this trade is going to have to be a major thumbs down. Do keep in mind that the main thing that's going to have value to an extent is going to be this Rainbow Iguana and maybe the Wisp Purple, but outside of that, it's not going to be really a lot to work with here. And with that being said, let's wrap this trade up. Alright guys, that's going to be it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to like, subscribe, and join our Discord server. While you're at it, cop some our merch, and you know, keep your eyes peeled for some new merch that's going to be coming out for this summer/spring event that I'm doing a little bit right now. So just keep that in mind. While you're at it, head on over to our Twitter and join our giveaway for the Glimmy Helmy Red Dakota, which is going to be ending pretty soon at 7,900 subscribers, but we're less than 30 subs away. So if you're very much interested in that, definitely recommend joining getting that before it's too late. All in all, remember, pineapples are vegetables, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, stay safe, peace.